All right, what's up, guys? So, I generally don't want to dive into Ukraine and Russia because I don't honestly think most people know just what the hell's going on. But every day when I'm driving home from the office, I, I stumble across a guy named Aravosis. You may or may not know him. He's kind of a low tier political guy out of DC. He worked for I don't know, Alaskan congressman for years. So he's been in the DC world. Never really made much of a name for himself. He did some things. I'm not trying to disrespect him at all, but he's very left wing, very liberal. He's a gay liberal in DC, and again, not trying to degrade the man. He does have some knowledge, but he's got a lot of just boilerplate CNN, MSNBC takes on Ukraine, Russia, and I really wish I could have a conversation with him and challenge some of the things he says because they're just flat out wrong. To hear him tell it, this war has been over since day one. Putin's hiding in a closet, and the walls are closing in. Trump is worse than Hitler. Trump is worse than Putin. Trump and Putin's both going to prison. January 6th is worse than the Holocaust, that kind of thing. And he seems like an intelligent guy, this Aravosis guy. And he's got a pretty good, big following on Twitch and YouTube and TikTok. And he holds up a map of Ukraine. So I thought I'd pull up some maps because basically, I don't want to go through the whole history of Ukraine, but Ukraine used to be a part of the Soviet Union. When they dissolved in the 90s, a lot of countries broke off. Ukraine was one of them, right? Now, when they started getting it all back together, it is what it is. A lot of these countries, some of them wanted to join, some of them didn't, but I thought this was interesting. So, if nothing else, look here. Oops, I didn't mean to do that, but so the contested area is Crimea, which is basically here. Russia surrounds, this entire area. So this entire area here, and you can see most of these people speak Russian. So in 2014, when Obama was in office and Russia's like, hey, we're going to go ahead and, reclaim this area that's full of our Russian people. All these people were like, cool, yeah, we think we're Russian. We speak Russian. We don't think we're Ukrainian. So they were cool with that. And nobody really did a whole lot. We didn't do nothing then, if you noticed. We just kind of went on like, business is business. But what started happening is Ukraine, they started bombing this area. So they've been bombing it since 2014, basically. They've been harassing, bombing, snatching people, killing people. It's been bad on the people that live in this region. The so-called Ukrainians. They've been abusing their own people. And that's not me telling that. You can go back just 24 months ago and read the reports in the New York Times, the New York Post, the Washington Post about what they would now call war crimes being committed against these people by the Azov Battalion, which is the Ukrainian Nazis. And there's plenty of articles about the Ukrainian Nazis doing that to those people in Crimea. And so, at some point, Russia was like, hey, we're doing this. So whether they're justified or not, whether they're smart or not, I don't know. To me, it's a regional conflict. I don't think we have any business in it. And there's a lot, don't buy for 1 second the narrative that we're being the good guys trying to save democracy by going in there and helping the Ukrainians, just out of the goodness of our heart. We have biolabs. We have all kinds of gas, oil, wheat, grains, you name it. There's a lot of U.S. interest here. Plus, don't even get me into the Biden Burisma, millions of dollars. It's a bunch of corruption and bullshit, honestly. Don't buy for a second that the U.S. is playing the good guys. In fact, the older I get, the less convinced we've ever been the good guys. World War II, World War I, sure. Past that, I'm starting to just think that we're really just instigators, and we've got a lot of bad people in bad positions in our country. But just looking at this map objectively, these people are Russian. And after 2014, they even took a vote. Hey, do you want to be a part of Russia or not? You know what they did? They all voted yeah. So, I mean, so that's what they're fighting over, basically, ostensibly. Now, some more maps. You can see this is early on. Russia controls most of this right here. Russia controls now. But as you've heard, they've bombed Kiev. They've bombed all these cities at will. Russia has, right? And yeah, this is basically Russia controlled now. And again, Aravosis kind of annoys me because he's be like, well, they control these strategically unimportant, Yeah, they're unimportant if you're wanting to conquer the whole country. That's not Putin's objective. Never has been, probably won't ever will be. He wanted to protect his people and what they feel is theirs, those Russian-speaking people. And probably inflict some damage. If I was Putin, I'd be pretty pissed off. But his goal is not to defeat the entire country or to level the country even. I think that's obvious. And I think if you think about it just for a few minutes, few seconds, you'll see that. Why has Russia never deployed his air force? He has limited, but you've seen how the U.S. attacks a country. We bomb the shit out of it for weeks on end. Remember shock and awe? We bomb you into oblivion. We take out your air defenses, your ground defenses. We pound you into the dirt until you're afraid to poke your head up. Putin hasn't done that. Yeah, he's strategically, hit some places, but you don't see nonstop bombing. You don't see indiscriminate bombing. And you have to pardon me, I'm stuffed up, allergies and all. But, they have one of the largest air forces in the world against a 2-bit Nazi-controlled, government headed by a failed actor. Do you really think Russia's having that hard of a time taking Ukraine? Sure. We're sending them every weapon in the world. I think that says more about us than it does him. Because according to all the news reports, now, this is where I will believe some of the news reports. They're saying, the Russians are throwing everything they got, all this old weaponry, untrained forces. Yeah, okay, let's say that's all true. And Russia's still gaining ground and doesn't look like they're losing the stomach for this. Now, throughout history, generals and governments or countries have done what they've called blooding their troops. Because you don't want you can have a massive army, but if that army's never seen combat, that's not good. So you always want to keep your army, experienced, so to speak. So you'll throw them in these conflicts where they're going to take damage, they're going to get experience, you're going to lose some of them, but you learn a lot through that battlefield tactics, through that experience, through that trial and error sometimes. And you call out some of the weak. They're saying they're throwing prisoners and some of the lowest of society. Well, I mean, is that such a bad idea, honestly? Russia's a big-ass country, probably with a bunch of lowlifes. They have a different society over there. He's able to say, hey, I'm basically king of Russia. Gather up, all our pedos and our rapists and our, horrible thieves. Put a gun in their hand or put a shovel in their hand and send them to the front. That's not a bad idea, honestly. I wouldn't mind dumping out some of our prisons over there. Send all the damn illegals over there. Right? Regardless, what I'm saying is that one of the largest military powers in the world, if they wanted, would level this country. And do it fairly quickly. And if you believe otherwise, that the Ukrainians are, putting up some kind of heroic stand and beating back the Russian bear, just with sticks and twigs and rocks, then you need to reconsider that. That's all I'm saying. Now, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not an expert. But I haven't seen what I would expect from Russia if they were really trying to just knock this country out. What I think is that they're being very careful. I think they're being methodical. I think they're not in a hurry, because why would they be? Why are they in a hurry? They've got plenty of resources. They've got plenty of weapons, plenty of people, and all the time in the world. They needed to secure their people. They've done that. They're going to slowly solidify this front. They're going to solidify their defenses. I don't think they have any interest in going much past there. And I think that's going to be it. I think it's going to end up being a stalemate. And I think they know that the West is going to quickly lose stomach for it, which we already have. I was never for it. I don't want my tax money going over there. We got enough problems. And I sure as hell don't want to send it over to a bunch of fucking Ukrainian Nazis. Do you? Because I remember not too long ago, Nazis were bad. But all of a sudden, the Biden administration is all for supporting a bunch of Nazis. And I'm just not down for that. It's another, little better map. But again, you can just kind of see Putin already controls the port. It's the Black Sea, basically. What's the rush? What is he in a rush for? He's got what he wanted. You can see he's surrounded. He can reach Kiev anytime he wants. If he was interested in just wiping out Ukraine, why is he fucking with all this? The objective is here if he wants to take out Ukraine, right? Why is he fucking around down here when he can just go from Kursk over? And Kursk is a major, or Belgrade even. So again, I just want to point some of that out. And enough with this Putin's, the walls are closing. They're acting like the arrest warrant from the International Criminal Commission. The U.S. doesn't even recognize that. In fact, we have an act of Congress that was passed that said if any American was ever captured or tried by that court, we would invade Helsinki. If that isn't crazy enough. So we don't even recognize that court, but you have leftists celebrating that an arrest warrant was issued for Putin. Now, okay, so should we issue an arrest warrant for Biden for blowing up that car full of kids in Afghanistan? Or for Bush for killing millions? Or for Clinton? Or for, the list goes on. We want to talk about war crimes. Get serious. That's how you know people are just full of shit. If you start hearing people talking about war crimes, the U.S. is first on the list. And you can't make a rational argument otherwise. If you do, you're full of shit. So that's why you get guys like that guy on whatever TikTok, Aravosis or whoever. You can always tell people when they're giddy talking about something. They're giggling. They're like, oh yeah, Putin, he's barely able to come out because he's so scared. Haha, yeah. It may be in a fantasy land. These people can't seem to separate truth from reality. What they want to happen from what really is happening. It was always the same thing with Trump. For 4 years, the walls were closing in, and there was just about to be charges, and he was just about to be, hauled out by the military, but nothing ever happened. But they would get themselves so worked up for it. But nothing ever happened. You have to just separate what you want from reality. In Ukraine, we need to look at the reality. How does this end? And it ends poorly for the Ukrainians because at some point they're going to lose all this support and Russia's still going to be there. And that's going to be a problem for them, folks. So anyway, like, subscribe, share this, comment, ask me questions, tell me what you want me to cover next, and I appreciate it. Again, share this, like and subscribe. I appreciate y'all. Later.